Hi there, I'm John Fry and this is an ARRI Alexa Mini. One of the main issues people have had over the years is getting audio in, be it scratch audio or even main audio. So here's some ancient and modern solutions that we've come up with to help audio recording on the Mini. So here's our base ARRI Alexa Mini setup. So we've got 15mm bars, rods, Ninja V on the top from Atomos, which is acting as a monitor and as a backup recorder, very useful. Got the Atomos Connect on the back of it, so we could actually live stream directly from here, but mainly I use it because it's got an SDI input on. Comes out of the camera SDI with embedded audio, which is the only way to monitor recorded audio going into the Alexa Mini via an external recorder via the SDI output. Bit annoying, but still, you know, it works. So the scratch audio, let's talk about that first. So whether or not I've got a full crew or you're shooting on your own with just one other person, getting some sort of audio into the Alexa Mini is pretty useful. So I've been on lots of sets where there's been clapperboards used not quite correctly, and that's ended up being a nightmare for editing when it comes to sync up the sound and the audio, because there hasn't been any going into this. So this doesn't have XLR inputs unless you add this A box, they call it, from Wooden Camera, or you can get other little cables that have XLR inputs on the end. However, you'd think that would be easy enough, but the Alexa for some reason takes in audio at a very, very low level. So whatever goes into it has to be pumped up again in post-production or via a preamp before it goes in. Also, it doesn't provide phantom power, so any of your nice microphones like your Sennheiser 416s, you can't run it directly from the camera without something else in between. So we're going to look at that in a second. So to start with, you want scratch audio, you want some sort of audio going in on the top. The only way to do it is via one of these cables or breakout boxes and using a self-powered mic. So this is an old Rode NTG2, which has an AA battery in it. So it's self-powered, it's sending its own signal hot out of the microphone into the box and into the ARRI Alexa. It's not a very strong signal. You would still have to bring it up by 30 dB or something to make it usable, but for scratch audio, okay, it's there at least. So that's input one. Input two, you can then have for your radio mic, for example. So here we have our little Sony receiver. Just going to hit record on there for a moment because I've got the same radio mic here that's feeding this camera. It's on the same frequency going to this receiver. So you can now hear I'll just switch over. So now you're hearing what the camera's recording. Hello there. The camera's recording this signal very low, okay? So the nice thing about the Sony receivers is they have a line out, but they also have a headphone out. So let's just listen to the difference. Headphones at a higher volume. There we go. So now we're plugged in via the headphone out of the receiver, which is at a much higher level than the line out. Very useful for getting decent level audio in via your radio mics. The other nice thing about this, it means that you can then use your little butt plug transmitters, these XLR transmitters for the Sony radio mic system, to power, as these will send out 48 volt phantom power to power your 416 or other phantom powered mic. So that's great. So suddenly you've got wireless 48 volt sound on your boom, or for interviews, whatever you happen to be doing, all wireless 48 and at a decent level going in via the headphone out on the receiver. So that's one way of getting a decent audio signal in without any other gubbins. But what if you've got multiple things that need phantom power, or you want to connect to some other different sorts of microphones, all that sort of stuff? The only other way is to use a box in between. Now, Beachtek, who have made little interrupt boxes for years and years and years, really useful little Beachtek XLR boxes. They have an Alexa Mini version, but it's very expensive, and some of the reviews aren't very good. A much cheaper option is to use a Zoom recorder. Now, I happen to have this one for other things. There's various different Zoom recorders. They'll all work as long as they've got a headphone out. So this does phantom power. You can adjust your output level here, which is a headphone output again, so that's boosted already. And you've got phantom power on all four channels actually, and internal recording. So A zoom recorder is actually a really good and inexpensive way to get decent level audio in there with a backup as well. So that's probably my idea of choice. Now there's other proper mixers, so if you're using something like this, hopefully you're on a bigger set and you've got a sound recordist who will bring their own mixer, you know, sound devices or something, and he will be able to give you, or she will be able to give you XLR outputs out of their mixer at a good level. So in the meantime, although the preamps on this aren't excellent, you can get rid of that pretty easily in post-production these days, and pretty much whatever you're going to do with this camera, you're going to need to do some post-production on the audio whatever, because it goes in so low. So just as a test, I'm going to show you how low. So this is a normal NTG2 self-powered mic. Just going to hit record. Let's go down to about 2 feet, and there's me talking to the camera. Hello, my name's John, 1 2 3 4 5. I'm probably not in focus even, but this is all coming from channel 1, which is the top mic, the NTG2, and you can tell how low that level is already. It's way down on the meters. There's me talking to the camera. Hello, my name's John, 1 2 3 4 5. I'm probably not in focus even, but this is all coming from channel 1, which is the top mic, the NTG2, and you can tell how low that level is already. It's way down on the meters. Oh, and the sun's come out. So you can see that without any amplification, the top mic audio there goes into the camera an absolutely useless level. It's got to be pumped up so much and have so much work done on it to make it usable that basically it's not worth recording in camera. Except as a guide track, which is useful. Having scratch audio is useful to synchronize sounds. So if all you want is scratch audio, all you need is a 30 quid cable from Amazon, which is simply Alexa Mini audio cable, which is like a 5-pin LEMO to XLR, and that goes straight into the camera. However, it will be unusable level. So it's just for scratch audio, it's just for helping to line up. If you want usable level out of this, you'll have to use a box like this, the Beachtek DXA Cine, which pumps it up to a good level, and then yeah, this is all perfectly usable then, which is really nice. However, it doesn't have XLR inputs and it doesn't provide phantom power. If you want a couple of channels in that, you can use this plus another channel with perhaps XLR inputs and phantom power. You'll need to go via another box, so you can in fact add something like this, which is a DXA6, which is another Beachtek box, is an old one, and this simply has 2 XLR inputs which you can adjust the gain and level on. You can add 48 volts phantom power to either, but you'd have to use that in conjunction with that, and still, even if you paid new for both of them, it's still less than half the price of the DXA Alexa Beachtek box. However, if you want ultimate flexibility, and frankly the most useful solution is to go through something like this, which is a zoom recorder. I think the most useful one for this would probably be a Zoom F3, which has got 2 XLR inputs, phantom powered if you need it. It's got a line and headphone out, and it's got 32-bit float recording, which means it has a huge headroom on your recording, so it doesn't even control its levels on the way in, because you can, it's got a huge range of input level, plus your controllable headphone out. So you go via a cable like this, which is Alexa Mini to 3.5, straight in there. Little F3 will sit on the top, much more useful, and that's about 250 quid. So I think that would be my choice if I was doing on-camera audio. However, what I use day to day and I find the most versatile is the Sony URX PO3D, or there's a new version of this as well, dual channel radio mic receiver. Now this is about the same price as the DXA Alexa Beachtek box, and of course you need mics with it, transmitters with it, but I've already got all those. So for me, this was a much more useful option. This again via our 3.5mm headphone out directly to Alexa Mini input cable allows me 2 channels of wireless audio and the top mic simultaneously. So it just makes it a much easier system for me to use. So nowhere near as simple as it could be to get audio into the Alexa Mini, but at least we've got options now, and thanks to these cheap cables on Amazon, you can actually use things like this, the Sony radio mic receivers, and and third-party recorders, like these Zoom ones, with one single cable to get audio in at a decent level. Bit complicated, I know, but at least we've got options now, and that's been my take on it. So any suggestions, queries, or other ideas, do put them in the comments. Otherwise, thanks very much for watching, and I hope that's been useful.